hear the moments near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones so stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. The chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. Fortune in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. The ballot's here, the moment's near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones so stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. A chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. Fortune in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor aligned. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor aligned. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. Near, your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Keeping dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones who'll stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor aligned. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. A chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. And together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor aligned. Together we shape this land divine. With the future in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor aligned. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor aligned. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. The ballot's here, the moment's near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones who'll stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. A chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. Fusion in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will.
Good afternoon. Welcome to It's in the Ballot. I'm your host, Nick Hollander, and we are live from Apuni Hall in Lower Hutt. Today we have six candidates, 5 live, 1 restream, who are vying for your vote. And there's only one, sorry, I messed that up. There's only one thing standing in your way, and that is your vote. Let's roll credits. Credits are rolling? Not yet. Excellent. So, how's everyone? That's cool. That's cool. Hey, we can work with this. You know my world now. No. There we go. There we go. And we're back. We're not back. What's happening?
Computer spraying us is
All right.
It's really weird. Like it's jumping around. Like
All right.
it's.
Am I going live right now? Is my okay. So we are back. We are back. All right. So we're going to start off with candidates giving their 1-minute opening statements, and we like to do this randomly generated. And so I'm going to do that myself. I have the capability. Let's start with Nilu.
Kia ora koutou. My name's Nilu Jennings, and I'm a disabled leader in our community, as well as a play centre mum. I am standing for the Central Ward because I believe that together we can create a sustainable and future-focused city where everyone can thrive. Kia ora.
Excellent. Thank you, Nilu. Next up, we have Glenda.
Kia ora koutou, my name is Glenda Barrett and I'm restanding in the Central Ward. because I believe in having a really good and proactive council that listens to the people and engages with the people over every decision we make. I'm probably one of the longest standing councillors on council, and I'm looking forward to being able to project your voice forward for further decisions. Kia ora.
Thank you very much. That wasn't a veiled hint at me, was it? Ignore that. I will try to project as well. All right, next up we have Simon.
Kia ora koutou. Hi, I'm Simon Edwards, and I'd really appreciate your vote as a Central Ward councillor. For me, it's back to my council beginnings. I finished a 27-year run as editor of Hutt News during its award-winning golden years and became a Central Ward councillor. And I've been a citywide councillor for 2 more terms, but the Central Ward is the heart of where it's all happening in the next 3 years for the 2 issues I've championed, and that is fixing our Three Waters infrastructure and Riverlink. During my time on council, we've made good progress renewing leaking water and wastewater pipes more than other parts of the region. Metro Water takes over that role from July next year, but we need Hutt councillors who will push hard for Hutt's priorities, reasonable costs and a robust consumer charter. I think the number one issue for residents in this election is the size of their rates bill. With those new costs coming from Metro Water, Hutt City Council needs a reset to find savings. We're going to need to find more efficient ways of doing things, and honestly, in the current cost of living crisis, there are going to be some things that council will have to do differently or maybe even stop doing. I'd appreciate your support. Thanks.
Thank you, Simon. All right, Tim.
Kia ora te whānau. My name is Tim McNamara, and I am standing for council because I believe in our city and its future. I stand for being able to provide thoughtful density to our centre city, to be able to decrease rates by increasing the revenue base. I provide a slightly different perspective to some of the incumbent councillors that we already have, and I want to provide a joint sort of view between an ecologically sensitive angle, being able to create the real positivity and vitality of an urban environment. And I want this to be a place where people can feel like they want to live in Lower Hutt. They don't just have to live here because they couldn't afford where they actually wanted to be. Lower Hutt is one of New Zealand's biggest cities. We're bigger than Dunedin, but you wouldn't think of us like that. Let's build a brighter city.
Thank you for that. Paki.
Kia ora tātou, ko Paki Maka tōku ingoa. I'm standing for the Central Ward. I was born in Lower Hutt and I've lived in Central Hutt for 32 years. I whakapapa Ngāti Kahungunu, ki Waro, and also Ngāti Kainuku and Ngāti Pokoroa from Cook Islands. I worked at council for 14 years, leading the Riverlink project and various other urban strategies. I believe we need to make our city into a place where young people, young families, and our grandchildren want to be and where they want to live by choice. Kia ora.
Thank you very much, candidates. All right, next up we have our box questions.
Sorry, Nat. Yes, I'm going to jump up
I'm very
and
sorry.
remind you that we have Rodney as a remote candidate.
Thank you very much, Stacey. That was my bad, and I apologize. Rodney.
Hi, I'm just checking. Can you actually hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Excellent, thank you. Kia ora, I'm Rodney Cook. I'm a film director and stuntman, and in the past life, a tourism operator. But more importantly, I'm a proud local. I met my beautiful wife while working on Lord of the Rings, and we chose to raise our son in tropical Alistown, which is not so tropical right now, but it's a place that we love. Now imagine you're strapped into a car and you're tumbling down a cliff face.
Thank you, Rodney.
Well, that's the kind of stunt I get asked to figure out and produce. Now, anyone can drive off a cliff, but the real skill is walking away and doing it again. And that takes careful planning, creative thinking, man management, and collaboration. And those are the skills that I bring to council. A cost of living is a real concern, so my aim is to make sure council is delivering the basics by fixing our pipes, roads and flood protection while keeping rates fair and achievable. Basically, try and get more bang for your buck. But we also need vision for our well-being. Riverlink is underway for flood protection and transport links, but it can be a lot more. I see it as a springboard to revitalise our city centre. Imagine a district of painting wall paintings and art trails and food galleries and gardens and events that attract people into our area, which in turn supports our small businesses. By using our commercial relationships and smart sponsorship, it shouldn't be an extra cost to the taxpayer. So the Hutt has a huge potential, and together we can fix the basics, keep costs under control, and breathe new life back into the Hutt. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. All right, let's try this again. Next up, we have our box questions. I haven't forgotten anyone else? Excellent. So, all right. I'll keep going. So that each candidate gets a turn to choose a number between 1 and 28. I will draw the question from our reliable box. I will read the question, and they have 1 minute each to answer. Now, they each have 2 butt-in cards and 1 defer. They can use their butt-in card to have a chance to answer a question that another candidate has chosen after that candidate has had their minute. The defer card is used to defer a question that they don't want to answer to a candidate of their choice, preferably one that is here. All right, so let's start with our random order. Let's go with Tim. Choose a number between 1 and 28.
11.
11. At this end of the show, we don't have trouble with numbers that have already been chosen. All right. Question 11. We have X for X-ray. Who do you think is missing out on local government participation?
Who do I think is missing out on local government participation? I think that it's clear from the low rates of youth participation in elections that people who are younger, who don't have their own houses, are outside of, sort of don't feel as though local government applies to them. If we can build more houses that are more affordable and more suitable, given that most of our housing stock suits a style of life or a size of family that doesn't exist as often. And we can use communication channels like video slightly more effectively to be able to make our communication more accessible and interesting. Then I think we're going to have a good chance at being able to engage a broader, deeper audience.
All right, thank you for that. We have a button from Nilu. All right, your turn.
Kia ora. I really think that the people who are really missing out on being engaged in the council process are our diverse and disadvantaged whānau. I've been around door knocking, and I feel it's really the disadvantage. It's really those who already experience disadvantage and who are diverse, and they feel disenfranchised. They don't feel that they are part of the political process. And as a councillor, I feel that my job would be to represent everyone fairly. I will make it my real a big passion that I will go and listen really hard to these people who are often hard to hear, who often have quiet voices, and represent them at the council table. Kia ora.
Thank you, Nilu. Next up, Rodney.
Choose number 1.
Oh, good number. All right, we have question G. What is your approach to handling controversial and complicated issues?
Well, the main thing for that is to actually listen. That's the first thing we need to do, is just take on all sides and weigh the evidence and make decisions as you best you can to make sure it's in the best interest of Lower Hutt's long-term future. I'm not a great fan of knee-jerk reactions and short-term sort of patch-up jobs. So I believe in careful planning, just like I do on set. So that's kind of where I feel we need to go.
Thank you, Rodney.
Just hold on a moment, the whole split is playing up at the moment. I can't change cameras.
All right, we're just going to hold on a moment. The whole XSplit is playing up at the moment, and he can't change cameras.
Yeah, I've lost all the keys to change.
Okay. All right. So, do we have anyone here from Upper Hutt? Yep. Do you live in Upper Hutt?
No, but I was born there.
Whereabouts? All right, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, everyone, chill. Let's relax for a minute until he gets it back.
Is anyone listening and it's just static, or?
People are watching.
Okay.
People are watching live. All right, so
We can just chat.
what we're going to do is we're just going to chat. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fingers crossed, thank you. Oh, God. Like, I swear the computer's doing a Windows update in the background, but it's usually Windows something.
That's why I use Linux.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Everything seems to be now working super fast with that to a normal way. Okay. Go.
All right. We're back for real this time. All right. So next up, we have Glenda. Choose a box, please.
Number 19, please.
We have question H for hotel. What skills and experience do you have that you believe would be beneficial to you as a council member?
I've been a city councillor now for many years, and alongside that, excuse me, my experience as a long-serving Rotarian, a justice of the peace, a celebrant, a manager, a volunteer worker, dealing with thousands of people through many walks of life, has led me into the homes and lifestyles of the people of Lower Hutt. It's also given me time to talk to people about their ideas, their concerns, what worries them, and how they want to have a better Lower Hutt city moving forward. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. All right, Paki, you're up.
Question 20.
I've just found hard-hitting question number 3. We're going to leave it, though, for that section of the show. Yeah. So he's in the last place you look. Question R. Hutt City Council doesn't have many places where tactile tiles are in use on footpaths to assist users who are visually impaired to know where it's safe to cross the road and what type of crossing they are using. Hutt City, is this a core function of the Hutt City Council to provide or a nice to have?
Walking's in my view, a public right. It doesn't matter if you're disabled or ably bodied. I think it's important for a multitude of reasons. One is that walkability allows people to take part in society. The safer that walking is, the better. And a lot of people, even those who do not have good eyesight, may have trouble crossing the road. It's good for public health reasons, it's good for economic reasons, it's good for well-being, therefore it's good for the community. Kia ora.
Thank you. Couldn't agree more. All right. Next up, we have Tim. No, sorry, not Tim, Simon. Tim's had a turn.
Is number 15 gone yet?
15 is still there. Question C. What council committees would you prefer to be on if elected?
Well, my strengths are in the infrastructure and regulatory area. There's only one council committee I haven't been involved in this triennium. So I've tackled things like the Te Awa Kairangi Hutt River Floodplain Management Committee, the Regional Transport Committee, the Major Projects Board and Central City Steering Group, all because they link in with infrastructure, which is where my real interests are, especially as they relate to Riverlink. if the call is for council to get back to its knitting, then surely the core of that is good transport access, clean water, protection from flooding, especially when the scientists tell us we're going to see, you know, a 20% increase in the number of storms and at least a 20% increase in the intensity of them. So we need to be ready for that. But on top of that, we've got to be looking after our natural environment. So that's my fit. I love infrastructure things. And on the regulatory side of things, my district licensing experience comes into it and looking after businesses there. Cheers.
Thank you. Okay, Nilu.
Question 3.
Question 3. We have Z for zebra or a zebra. If a candidate is found to be breaking the campaign rules, do you believe that the candidate should publicly own the mistake or issue, or should it be able to be brushed under the rug, and why?
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward question for me. I think that they should own up, and they should own their mistake. It should be something that should be dealt with at you know, with what the rules that are already in place, and that's, I guess, the responsible way to deal with that issue.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, we've made it through one round of questions, and we will start with another random order generating. And Simon, you are first.
Number 6, is that gone?
6 is still there. We have B for Bravo. Is rate money being spent responsibly?
Yeah, I think on the whole it has. Yeah, we've had quite exhaustive annual and long-term plans to try and find savings. Just in this financial year we're headed into, we asked officers, or demanded officers, they find another $600,000 worth of savings, because we know that people are hurting out there. And we've had some painful decisions to make too. I mean, we cancelled the clubhouse in Nainai. We cancelled our roving city ambassadors. Now, they were hard decisions to make, but we were very aware that rates bills are hurting some families. We're doing things like our dig it once, do it right mantra. So instead of, we relay a footpath, times past you would have come back and it'll be dug up again another few months when you're putting in a new pipe. We definitely are clamping down on that sort of wasteful spending. And we're an early adopter of the new traffic management protocols. People hate road cones. And road cones mean cost, overly elaborate traffic management. We've knocked that on the head.
Thank you for that. We have a button from Glenda.
Thank you. We need rates to survive as a city, and ideally I think we're doing the best we can. One of the things that I'm finding out there on the campaign trail is that the rates impact has hit a lot of families very, very drastically. Does this mean we need to be financially responsible for everything we do? Well, the answer is yes. Some of our rates cover the administrative costs of running a council, and I'm not particularly sure that we're doing this well enough. Our staffing levels have risen where it has become evident we have lost a lot of our previous experienced people, and we've had to increase the amount of staffing to deal with the overall problem. So I do think this is an area we could work on even more so.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have another button, this time from Tim. All right, go ahead.
I feel as though both of the incumbents have spoken. It might be worthwhile to provide just a little bit of a supplementary sort of thought there. It is really important that council officers have been pushed for savings, but I do think there's a lot of focus on essentially the ones column. So with road cones, it's $1.3 million of the council's budget, whereas over on the other side, up in close to the hundreds column, would be water and roading. It's by far, it's close to 70% of the budget. And pushing on some of the contractors and ensuring that doing things really boring, like saying to some of the commercial providers and applying more commercial pressure to those contracts is a much more boring way, but a way that you could start to save much more money than a couple of $100,000 here and there, and really start to think about millions of dollars over the course of multiple years.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Good answer. Good answer. All right. Next up, Paki. 25. Q for Quebec. What budget line item would you remove to help bring rates down in Upper Hutt, it says? Let's do Lower Hutt, though. Let's do Lower Hutt, just for Q for
Sorry,
Quebec.
everybody. I'll own up to that. That's my fault. I didn't catch that.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, and I was going to fall on the sword for you. Hey, let's read it again. I will do that too. What budget line item would you remove to help bring rates down in Lower Hutt without disrupting basic services?
I'm going to defer this one to somebody who knows the budget better than I do.
That's what they're for.
Can I defer to the audience?
All right. What's the vote on that? No.
I'm joking.
Yeah. No, we can't do that. Who do you choose?
Brenda, would you like to answer that one?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yep, not a problem. What budget line item would you remove to help bring rates down in Lower Hutt without disrupting basic services?
Ooh. Actually, there is a lot of things in the budget and encompassing the budget line that I think we could be re-looking at. I would hate to actually say one thing off the cost. I do know that, off the cuff, sorry, I do know that we need, as I've said, to re-look at staff costs, again, to make sure that we are spending money properly and where we can make cuts overall without disrupting the level of service that we are doing.
Thank you for that. Good defer. All right. Next up, we have Rodney.
Is question number 3 still around?
Sorry, what question was that? Number 3? All right.
Number 3? Yeah, why not? Give it a whirl.
P for Panama. Plenty of councils have youth councils, and it seems the youth voice is missing here and would be great to have back. Are you in favor of a youth council for Hutt City Council?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that, actually. Young people bring fresh ideas and energy, and their voice is vital, and they do need a seat at the table. I mean, they're actually the trendsetters, if you can imagine what's going to be happening. I mean, I remember when I was in Berlin and the wall was coming down, and that was caused by a youth movement, to believe it or not. So that really started a change in that whole regime. So yeah, I think they've got a real voice to be heard.
Thank you, Rodney. All right. Next up, we have Tim.
I will, 11. Did I choose 11 first?
Yes, you
13.
did.
Go for another
Lucky
prime number.
13. Lucky 13. All right. Question I for India. What should the local government be doing about climate change?
Local government in New Zealand has some really important messages and actions that it can take relating to climate change. It is in charge of its roading and active transport network. We can join the dots of our cycle network to finish the pieces that have been put in place. It also is in charge of its water, or at least it is for a little bit longer, and some of the other other impacts like regenerating its natural environment. We are a authority that has responsibility for a lot of forest and a lot of waterways, and they can be enhanced. And one of the things that I would love to see is more wetlands in our territorial authority.
Thank you for that. We have Nilu was first on the draw by a second. Oh, a split second.
Kia ora. Yes, I really feel that there is something more urgent that our local government can do. I really feel we've put in flood protection, which is fantastic in the form of Riverlink, and you know, I really hope that that serves us really well. But even more importantly than that, we need to be building resilient and inclusive and connected communities, because I think that's the way that we are going to get through this period, or this whole era of climate change, by being really resilient as communities and being able to draw on each other, and having a plan of how we're going to get through these times of emergency. That is what I feel is the most important thing that we can do at the moment.
Thank you for that. All right, we have another butt in from Simon.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity, because I really do believe climate change is one of the biggest problems facing us. And what we should be doing is continuing with the things that we've started to do, and that's to get our emissions down. Hutt City Council is replacing its gas-fired heating in all our swimming pools with electricity. In Nine Pool, for example, we've got 20% more space up there, but 20% lower emissions. We need honest conversations with our residents about the flooding risk and sea level rise. Our district plan is starting to send those signals about where we shouldn't be intensifying anymore, and we need to honestly have some conversations about potential retreat in some areas. A big component of Riverlink and the shared path and seawall we're building around Eastbourne is actually to do with climate change rather than anything else. So, as well as the transport benefits there, enabling people to, cycle and use micromobility and so on. Council can't do it on its own, and that's why we have a community climate change strategy, Te Ara Whakamua, and we encourage and help people to make changes in their own lives to get ready for climate change coming at us and reduce their own emissions.
Thank you for that. Very quick segue. Does Eastbourne still have the ferry going to it?
Certainly does. Harbour Ferry, East by West Ferry, on our rejuvenated Days Bay wharf, makes that trip daily. Very popular.
Nice.
And it's electric these days.
Even better. I used to take that to and from school. All right. We have Glenda. Your turn.
Question 7.
Lucky number 7. I say they're all lucky. All right. Question A, B. What's your biggest priority for the next term, and how do you intend on delivering that?
Okay, being a long-term councillor, I think the one thing that we all need to focus on is Riverlink and its successful delivery. It's going to take the majority of care and consultation to ensure it happens correctly. Once again, out there on the sidewalk, if you like, get asked a lot of these questions, and Riverlink, apart from rates, Riverlink comes next. What's going to happen? Are we going to be cared for? Is there going to be enough parking once the parking is taken away from the riverbank? And, overall, the safety and the prudent delivery of services alongside our rates has to be the main priority.
Thank you, Glenda. Oh, we have a button for Buggy.
Yeah, kia ora. Thanks, Glenda. My biggest priority is creating the best city we can to retain our young people, our young families, and my great-grandchildren and everybody else's grandchildren to live here. I think we need to think structurally and long-term, and I think we can be ambitious, and we must work closely with our community, our partners, And we know how to do this because we're already doing it with Riverlink. So I think we can adapt Riverlink as a methodology, if you like, or some version of it in the delivery of infrastructure, housing and urban development. Kia ora.
Well said, well said. All right, we are up to our third round. And you didn't get a question in that? That's because there was a button and I got confused. Nilu, let's finish that round.
Number 7.
Just had number 7.
25.
Yeah, let's go with that. Question E for echo. E for echo. What are your priority areas for expenditure?
So at the moment, the way the rates are being divvied up, we are spending, I think, about 60 to 70% of the money that council gets from its ratepayers on fixing the pipes. And to me, that is the biggest priority. We need to fix those pipes, and once that is done, then we can start thinking about other things. But until that is done, and I think it will take the best part of 10 years, that is the priority.
Thank you very much. All right, round 3. This time, Glenda, you're up.
Question 14, has it gone?
That has not gone. V for Victor. What should council priorities be when making grants to the community?
So having been involved in a grants committee, we always look for the fact of whether people applying for money, whether they have received money before, if the project has been shown to work, if they do receive money from other organisations, or if it is a new project, and how the report has been put together. First and foremost, we need to be very careful about the money that we give out. There are a lot of deserving charities. There are a lot of deserving people out there that want to make sure that their projects work. To be able to do that and to spend the money wisely, we need to go through all of the things that I've just mentioned beforehand before making decisions.
Thank you for that. Next up is Tim.
May I ask question 28?
You may. But can you? No. I am sorry, that was uncalled for. All right, question L for Lima. What part of the community or business sector does council need to work more closely with?
I really want to answer this question, but I really want to see someone use the defer card. I think that one of the parts of council and a part of our community that doesn't think that is well engaged with council is the business community. And in particular, smaller businesses, they feel as though they are left out of the story. Their rates are higher than residential rates, but they feel like they don't have as much say. And in terms of what to do about that, in the same way that we might change the messaging to include more inclusivity in terms of younger people and people from other diverse, we can also go and more actively engage with the business community in ways that fit their day-to-day, possibly through advocacy groups like the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce and other advocacy organisations to communicate what's happening more effectively.
Thank you. All right. Rodney, your turn.
What's left?
Oh,
You can choose for me.
all right. That I can do.
Thank you.
All right. We have K for Kilo. What are your ideas for helping people who don't have good internet access to be involved and have their say?
You have to go up. old school, I think. Just simple, visible updates in public spaces like notice boards and community centres. Use the radio and local papers. Not everyone's online, but everyone deserves a voice. So yeah, you'd have to just sort of reach out to the communities and public spaces and just go old school as best you can if they don't have access to the actual internet,
We have a button, but thank you, Rodney. All right, Tim.
Kia ora, Rodney. I want to just supplement that with, yes, it's old school, like the council existed before the internet, but people have phones now. So even if they don't have the internet that we might think of in terms of, like, let's say a computer at home, they are very likely to have a phone at home. Much more likely to have a cell phone than a landline, for example. Another way that council can really engage is it runs hundreds of events every year. And those events are all points of contact with the community. As a dad, I benefit from that because the library runs dozens of things every week. And yet, and so I think that there are many places where a little bit of extra thought can go a very long way to being able to increase participation in council.
Thank you. Okay, Nilu.
7.
I'll give you 8. Not because I didn't want to give you 7, but because it's already gone. S for Sierra. Do you think the council should be involved in providing social housing, and how so? And if so, how?
I don't know the scope of social housing very well, but I feel at the moment it's not something that the council should take on. Social housing is primarily a central government operation, and I think the risk of local government trying to take on social housing as well is that there might be people who will fall between the cracks if there are two kind of providers of the social housing. I think there could be a risk that people will fall through the cracks.
Thank you, Nilu. All right, we have a button from Simon.
I think it's my last button card, but this is worthwhile butting in on because I think we should be involved. There's far too many people in the Hutt who are living in cars and garages and overcrowded houses. Hutt City Council owns about 210 social housing units and they provide a warm and secure place for low-income elderly and socially disadvantaged. We're in a good position where we have a property development company, Urban Plus. It's self-sustaining. It adds to our housing stock by building both market and affordable houses, and the profit from that is ploughed back into our social housing portfolio. Unfortunately, because council owns these housing units, the tenants don't qualify for the accommodation supplement, and that's a bit of a drawback. And I guess a case could be made that if we sold our units, that's $30 million out of debt that we could retire. But the only way I personally would ever contemplate making such a sale would be to have a cast iron assurance that it would go to a community housing provider in perpetuity, and the tenants that we currently have would be looked after.
Thank you very much. All right, next up, Simon.
Ooh, 18, is that gone?
Not yet, not yet. T for Tango. What is your understanding of invisible and visible disabilities, and what are you going to do for the disability community of Lower Hutt?
Look, when I was writing an answer to this, I felt I should defer to the real expert on the topic in this room, and that's Neelu Jennings, who has brings lived experience to these issues and has been a champion and an advocate for people who have disabilities. And I'll acknowledge Councillor Barrett too, who has some expertise in this area. But I'll have a go at answering it because we know that 15% of our population is 65 and older, and that's only going to accelerate. We need to look after those people with footpaths and those tactile tiles that we were talking about on street corners earlier. We definitely need to provide for people who have vision and other disabilities. I think in every building or project or service that we undertake, we ask our officers to report on finances, on the legal side of it, on the climate change side of it. I think there should be another thing that we should demand they report on each time. How does this affect our people with disabilities, and how are we going to accommodate that?
Thank you.
Kia ora. Thank you, Simon, because, you know, when I read this, it says, what is the understanding of invisible and visible disabilities? So invisible disabilities cover many aspects, such as autism, intellectually impaired, anything that impacts an individual's life that the ordinary person may not necessarily see. Visible disabilities can be those in wheelchairs, blindness, autism again, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, anything. I work in this area on a day-to-day basis, and I have a high understanding of what impacts our people with disabilities. I also have family members that have invisible disabilities, and I know the impact that it has on them in an ordinary society. I want to work more closely with the disability community of Lower Hutt, and I think, you know, I was speaking to an officer recently and he said to me, Glenda, we always know when something comes up that you're going to say, and how does this impact on our disabled community? So I'm going to keep on asking those questions because I want the answers to ensure that everyone is treated fairly. Kia ora.
Thank you. Nilu.
So there's a really cool thing that I've learned about. It's called the sunflower. It's a sunflower that people can wear if they have an invisible disability. My disability is invisible to a lot of people. They don't realise that I have a visual impairment until they realise I can't cross a road or read size 12 font. But so invisible disabilities can be anything, absolutely anything, but it's just something that people are not aware of until you make them aware of it. So the sunflower is a really cool emblem if we actually mainstream it in the Hutt, so people know that people who are wearing a sunflower have some sort of difficulty. It doesn't even have to be a disability. And I think, I guess for me, the thing about, you know, what we can do for disabled people, if we do things for disabled people, they will make things better for everyone. So I'll just take one of them, and one of the most easiest ones is making accessible footpaths. If we created accessible footpaths, it would not only make it good for disabled people like myself, who has really bad depth perception and often falls over if there is a raised bump on a footpath, but it would also make it better for older people, for children, for actually everyone in society. There are totally mainstream people who find it hard walking on footpaths with lots of bumps and ridges on them. So it's yes, I agree we should be doing stuff for disabled people, but when we do things to help disabled people, we help everyone, and that's what we need to really get through to council and to the community, that we can all do this together for everyone.
Thank you very much. All right, we have time for one more question, and I believe it is Buggy.
2. Thanks.
Not quite the magic number, but we'll get there. All right, 3 is the magic number. AA, tell us what you think of local government or local democracy.
I think it's not well understood by council and community, and I think this shows in the low turnout of voters at elections. I mean, the value of local government and what it stands for, I think, could be better communicated. I think local government needs to fill, or at least facilitate filling the gaps where central government or other organisations do not provide for certain things. For example, homelessness is not being addressed adequately. And our community could choose to do something about it and agree to fund that. But council can do things within existing budgets. Things in kind, council can facilitate just through staff who have understandings on the agencies who can provide housing, kind order, CHIPs, which are community housing providers, etc. So at a minimal cost, I think council can play a role in many of these things which are not provided for very well by central government. Kia ora.
Thank you very much. All right. We'll be back in 10 minutes with hard-hitting questions. Yeah, come on.
We're taking a pause, just a short little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now, you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. short little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. The lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime.
Oh shit, don't panic, but it's almost time to get back to the show. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. There's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab those snacks for the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh. The candidates have stretched their leg. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. Oh, 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 oh. There's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab the snack you wanna know. So grab those snacks and the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh.
and we're going to start round 2 of hard-hitting questions. All right, and we're back. All right, we're going to start off round 1 of hard-hitting questions. Question 1. Now, I have 2 hard-hitting question 1s here, so I'm going to try the first one, and hopefully it's right. Oh, there's one way I can fix this. There is a lot of talk about amalgamation into a unitary authority similar to Auckland Council. What are your views on this? Paki, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. I think this is worth a very serious discussion. Being an urban planner, I think that housing, business, industry, transport, infrastructure, workforce, recreation, public services, etc., must be arranged into the right areas for the right reasons and at the right time across the region. We cannot afford to operate as individual cities locked into self-interest. There's simply not enough money, talent and influence for any city in our region to operate in isolation. There is comprehensive data which shows that larger cities are more efficient, more productive and require less infrastructure than smaller cities per capita. Given the chronic lack of resources, our region needs to act as a team and we must all row in the same direction. Kia ora.
Thank you. All right, Neela. Neela.
Yes, I totally agree with what Paki's saying. And I would like to add, it's all about economies of scale. And if we do amalgamate, I think it would be, I think we really do need to think about this option, and have a really, really good, robust discussion about it, because economies of scale means that we get a lot more for our dollar. Just like Paki said, we lack resources. We need to be doing as much as we can with as little as we can, especially in this day and age. So I would love if we would have a really serious discussion about this option. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Linda.
Kia ora. Once again, thank you, Paki, for answering, I think, most of the ideas that we are possibly thinking about. This is a tough question to ask. The residents of both cities don't want to lose our identity, and that yet when you talk to them, they say this is almost a foregone conclusion. I do think we need to look at ways how we can retain our own identities if this was to happen, and how we can make our own part of the city of where we live special, and so to not lose that initial identity, if you like. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. Well said. All right, next up, Tim.
It is really amazing that we're having this ability to look back and see 15 years of the super city. The threat of amalgamation happened to Hutt before, and council got scared, decided to build a lot of stuff and spend a lot of money. And I look at, say, the Sportsville complex and a bunch of other really intensive capital expenditure that happened about 10, 12 years ago. However, in saying that, if we are really worried about rates, and this is shown to be efficient and effective for the region, we do behave as a outer suburb of Wellington. We don't have our own airport, we don't have our own stadium, and so it probably makes sense if we can bring everyone along with us.
Thank you very much. All right, Rodney.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. There's pros and cons for the pros is obviously for the amalgamation is you get a bigger pool of money, and you basically can share resources, etc. But the cons is that you looking at the Auckland model, it created distance between communities and decision makers, and some say it created a mega bureaucracy. So we do need strong regional collaboration, but I think if we can keep our voice strong and decision makers close to the people, then I think it's kind of the way to go. I'm a bit cautious about it, actually. I'm from Auckland originally a long time ago, but I've made the Hutt my home over the last 25 years, and I really value our community-based way of life here, where I feel if you sort of get sucked into a super city type vibe, you do find that some regions will go by the wayside, and I've seen that happen in Auckland. So that's just my concern. But if it benefits, if it stacks up and it benefits us as a Hutt city, then I'll be all for it. It's a case of weighing the evidence and what it can bring to the table.
Thank you, Rodney. All right, Simon.
Yeah, Chair, so I sort of agree with everyone else. We certainly need to be having these discussions. I don't think it is the case that bigger is necessarily better, but if we are on a mission to find savings, and we are with those big Three Waters costs coming out at us, 25 billion worth of costs over the next 30 years in this region, we need to be exploring the potential for those economies of scale that would come from amalgamation. I don't know if it needs to be a super city. I mean, I've long been in favour of exploring a merger with Upper Hutt, having just one Te Awa Kairangi area. It makes a lot of sense to me, considering we already have a lot of joint services, the Silverstream landfill, the sewage treatment, library services and so on. We do a lot of sharing already, and we could expand on that. With the resource management reforms that this government is getting underway with a more regional planning approach, and we just heard this week that they're going to change the status for building consents authorities to try and get the cost of building down. So there's a whole lot of reasons why cooperating between councils is something we need to look very seriously at.
Thank you, Simon. All right, let's get to our second hard-hitting question. Do you think you have any personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest while serving as a council member? Let's start off with Tim.
I have interests. So I am a volunteer with Forest and Bird. I am a volunteer with Scouting Aotearoa, but and also I'm sit on the committee of Friends for Waifetu Stream. I own a business that is a member of the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce. I don't necessarily think those are conflicts, but you definitely have an interest or a stake in the Hutt, and yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Thank you. All right, Simon.
All of those sorts of involvements that Tim just mentioned are bonuses. They're not things that to be embarrassed about. That's what makes you a good councillor, when you have those links. I don't have any professional or personal relationships that get in the way being a councillor. No skeletons in the closets. No financial contracts with council, and that's an important thing. I have an outside job. I work at Federated Farmers as a communications person, and I know that if a rural issue crops up when we're having a district plan discussion or something like that, I need to declare it, move myself back from the table, because there's a clear conflict there. But I think most councillors know when they need to step aside like that. And I do think honesty and trustworthiness are absolutely key characteristics that ratepayers should demand from their councillors.
Thank you very much. Next up, Nilu.
Yeah, so I wouldn't think, I don't really think that I have any skeletons in the closet. I am quite a transparent person. In my day job, or I'm a mum full-time, but I also run a trust board, which is a it's called it's called Integrated Sport Aotearoa, and integrated sports are sports that cater for everyone and anyone who wants to play sports. People who are excluded from the sports social sector. So a lot of disabled people, people with mental health, people with all sorts of health conditions, people LGBTIQ. Anyone who is diverse can play these sports, as well as able-bodied people, mainstream people, and they're games that they can all play together, because historically people with disabilities have been quite segregated while playing sports. So I don't really see that I would have any conflicts, and if I did, it would be I would have to, as a councillor, I would remedy it straight away. Kia ora.
All right. Paki, you have the floor.
Yeah, kia ora. I believe I don't have any professional conflicts, but I am self-interested in some ways, and I think I should share these with most of my colleagues here. Is I'm really interested in making a great city. I'm really interested in keeping our young people here. I'm really interested in the less fortunate. I'm really interested in housing. But at the same time, I'm really interested in good social and economic outcomes. You know, we want good, sustainable, resilient communities with good business, which grows local jobs. I make no apology. That's my driver. And unfortunately, we can't necessarily please everybody at the same time. So we do need to look at the big picture. Kia ora.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up, Glenda.
My answer is very short and sweet. The answer is no. We are asked at the very beginning of every council meeting whether we have a conflict of interest. And then, as Simon says, it's a matter of trust. If you say you don't, then you don't. If you do, then you sit back from the table. I'm standing as an independent, so I'm here to represent the voice of my community, and I do that with honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rodney.
Yeah, I also have no conflict of interest, but my interest is obviously to make the Hutt and our home thrive. As you know, I'm in the film industry currently, and I'm what I call a contractor. So I can sort of go anywhere, and we've done a lot of filming actually right here in the Hutt. We've actually filmed King Kong, Avatar, even some of the parts of Lord of the Rings, and also local TV shows. I'm actively talking to a producer in America right now, and he's interested in filming in New Zealand, and I'm actively trying to get him to be based on one of our Hutt studios, like Avalon Studios, for example, or Lane Street Studios in Upper Hutt, and that'll bring in like a little film town back into the Hutt. So I guess I wouldn't consider that a conflict of interest. I'd just call that more promotion of the Hutt. So, but that's where I'm going from. So yes, I don't have any conflicts. But if anything did arise in my business dealings in the film, I'll step myself out of that.
Oh, thank you. It sounds like we have not really any conflicts, but a lot of interests. All right. Hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining the Manakarangi Kita Maori ward for Hutt City Council and the Te Upuku o Te Ika Maui Maori constituency for Greater Wellington Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? Rodney.
I believe my awards are about giving everyone a fair seat at the table. I support fairness and inclusivity. New Zealand is built on partnership and diversity. And I really do believe that representation does matter. And we need long-term solutions that respect rights and bring people together. And that's kind of my belief system. That's why I'm actually doing this, running for council. It's not like I aspired, I want to be on the council and be a politician. That's not really my what I'm here for. I'm here to try and help people and hear people and listen to people. And I think that's really important. So I don't like the idea of diversive short-term policies that put pull people apart. So that's where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. Nilu. Time's up. No.
That was fast.
I believe very, very, very firmly in Māori wards being a part of the council. Te Tiriti is the founding document of New Zealand about Aotearoa, and in the three articles, it is explicitly stated that Māori must be represented at every level of society. And government is one of those levels. So by having a Māori ward, a specific Māori ward, we are allowing Māori to be represented at the council level, and also allowing the Māori voice and perspective to be heard and understood. So that I think, yes, I'm very, very, very behind Māori wards. Kia ora.
Thank you, Nilu. Paki.
Yeah, kia ora. Māori wards must be retained because Māori as a treaty partner requires appropriate representation. Many decades of poor representation across both local and central government has led to some of the poorest outcomes across all New Zealanders, and they're experienced by Māori and Pacifica. The statistics show appalling outcomes in jobs, housing, health, prisons, life expectancy, etc. And these are all opportunity costs to all of society. Our population is becoming more brown, and we know this. Therefore, our economy and our university wellbeing as a country is becoming increasingly reliant upon the performance of Māori and Pacifica. Only Māori can describe the conditions under which they can thrive, and we should embrace what Māori have to say about the future. I've worked with several Māori communities, and common to all of them is the need to do what is right for all people and not leave anybody behind.
Thank you very much. Glenda.
Sometimes as a councillor, we need to vote on something to allow the correct consultation to take place. And that gives us the opportunity to say that we've clearly heard the voice of our people. I don't believe Hutt City Council has performed wrongly in the way that we've been doing things of late. We have clearly been listening to the Māori voice within our community. And we are blessed with having 4 Māori councillors on board at the moment. I have a multicultural family, but I'm also in 2 minds. I have spoken to many Māori and non-Māori who have differing thoughts also. For instance, there are many Māori who do not want to see this go ahead because they feel that it will divide our city. Many years ago, a prominent kaumātua talked to Hutt City Council who said he was not in favour of Māori wards for the very reason that it could divide things. I'm looking forward to the voice of our people telling us what they want to do.
Thank you very much. All right, Tim.
It's strange as a Pākehā here sitting in a tie, wearing a tie, but I will go ahead and spend the next 50 seconds putting a viewpoint out. Pākehā arrived in the late 1830s in Petone, and essentially over the next 30 years drove iwi and hapu out of the Hutt Valley, and then spent the next century or more stripping all of the forests and all of the environment away. If this is an opportunity for providing, restoring a little bit of that mana, then I think we should ensure that Māori wards are retained and Māori representation is strengthened, because we've spent the last 2 centuries doing a really bad job at including everyone in democracy and the future of our country.
Thank you, Tim. All right. Well said. Simon?
Yeah, very good. I voted in favour of establishing a Māori ward, and I'm looking forward to the contribution that Te Awa Puketapu will make as our first Māori ward councillor. I think it's a great shame that people won't get to see how our inaugural Māori ward will work before having to answer a referendum on that question, on its future and whether we keep the ward. We know that 20% of Lower Hutt's population identify as Māori, and we know that's increasing, as Paki has noted. A ward guarantees they have a representative to bring that perspective to the council table rather than it being on chance. Contrary to some people's belief, it is not straying from a one person, one vote principle. To vote in a Māori ward, you need to be on the Māori roll, and just like anyone else, you get to vote for a mayor and citywide councillors. It's no different from a geographical ward. There's nothing unfair about it, nothing to be afraid or resentful of, and everything to gain from living up to our partnership obligations under Te Tiriti, and to hear that Te Ao Māori worldview, as well as all the other things we weigh up in our decision making.
Thank you, Simon. All right. Let's get ready to receive our candidates' closing statements, and we're going to start with Simon.
Well, firstly, I'd like to thank the It's in the Ballot team for giving us this opportunity. We've spoken a little bit about how hard it is to get people interested in local government, and you guys have worked really hard to bring some of the issues forward, and I thank you for it, because councils really do touch on a whole lot of aspects of our lives. A lot of talk today about the need to get rates bills down, and as I've said, I certainly appreciate that with Metro water bills coming at us very fast. Whatever the shift of water services costs to Metro Water are next year, there has to be a corresponding drop in the size of Hutt City's rates bills. There's a big affordability issue going on in our community. We don't have to be necessarily cutting a whole lot of services. We can be smarter about the way we do things. And just to give you one example, we've moved recently to a digital online booking system for all our community halls and other venues. Now, that simple change saved $114,000 a year and enabled a redistribution of staff. We can do some amazing things with AI as well. I'd really like your support. I can hit the ground running as an experienced councillor.
Thank you, Simon. Tim?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for staying with us, and thanks very much to the team for putting this on. Council can feel kind of stodgy and boring, and yet here's an opportunity for everyone to kind of get excited again and really think and reflect about the future that they're going to have. I want to be part of creating a future that is aspirational, positive, vibrant, and the way to do that is with people and bringing more people into the city, and bringing the city along with it. If we have 30,000 people coming into the city over the next 30 years, they're not all going to fit over Melling Bridge. We can't just throw them over onto Wainuiomata because the Wainui Hill won't allow another 10,000 vehicles. A vote for me is a vote for thoughtful density, of being able to be more connected with the environment, for having more housing that is more appropriate. And by the way, I quite like cycleways.
Nothing wrong with that. Glenda?
Thank you, everyone. And I haven't prepared anything for my final statement other than to say, as a chair many years ago of a community committee, I chose to take all my meetings to different areas of the city that allowed more people to attend. Some people have an aversion to being in the council chambers. There's a bit of a fear there, I think. These meetings were attended by council officers and were a great way to have people involved. I am a community person. I've always been a community person. I've been in your lounges, I've been in your kitchens, I've been everywhere. I've been standing outside at your letterboxes looking how tree roots have impacted your driveways. So while it may seem that I'm talking about the community stuff and not the big picture stuff, please please believe me that I have all those things in mind. I represent you. I represent your voice. I want you to know that I have heard you. And a vote for me will continue to have those things done for you. Kia ora.
Thank you, Glenda. Paki.
Kia ora. Just to reiterate, I want to make a great city. We need to keep our young people. They become our future workforce, our talent, our businesses, and our city leaders. We need to make the right decisions now, and they need to be good ones. I think we need to make the most of our democracy and work transparently and authentically with our residents, our businesses, Māori, and our partners. So we need to do that well, and we need to think long term. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Nilu.
Kia ora e te whānau. Thank you guys It's in the Ballot for setting this up. It's really great that we can have this kōrero. I guess for me, what I want you to understand, or I want people to take away from me, is that I'm really all about community as well. Community is at my heart, and I'm especially concerned at the moment. I know everyone is very, very concerned about the rates, but even more than the rates, we need to be thinking about climate change and the potential effects. And I think the way that we need to, the most important thing that we can do at the moment is to create inclusive and connected and resilient communities. We need to know our neighbours. We need to be able to draw on our neighbours in times of emergency. If we don't include everyone, if we're not listening to everyone, and and everyone is not represented, and at the council table, we are not doing our job as a council. So my real big spiel, I guess, is that we need to be thinking about climate change and creating really resilient communities. Kia ora.
Thank you, Nilu. Last but certainly not least, Rodney.
Oh, g'day. We all know that we're in a cost of living crisis, and it's real. And we also know that we're living on a floodplain, and climate change is real. So I do a lot of walking around the river. My house is right beside it, so obviously that's a concern for me. But what got me involved in actually stepping up and not being a film director or stunty and going for council and putting my hand up is because I do really want to help our community. And I see pain, and I see graffiti and tagging, and I see tired areas. And I want to basically help and get, like everyone else in the room, get communities to talk to each other, to share, and to, because it starts with one person. That's all it does. It starts with you talking to your neighbour. And we can help each other out through this. With the River Link, I think it's a huge, huge opportunity to revitalise the city and bring back people and encourage businesses, small business, which is the backbone of our economy and also the heart of our community. So with the River Link infrastructure coming in play for the flood protection, etc., we can go hand in hand, and we can create amazing sort of districts in that with the town planning if we plan carefully. And it shouldn't cost the ratepayer any more money, because if you're building a retaining wall full of concrete, well, if you just put the mold with a beautiful pattern, then you've got something beautiful to look at the end of the day. So I'm imagining that we could actually make the Riverlink project to basically kickstart a tourism and a vibrant arts community as well. So that will bring people and foot traffic back into the heart of the city. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I see a lot of empty space, so we can do a lot of community gardens and food sharing as well as I walk around the streets. So anyway, that's my bag. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rodney. All right. Before I let you all go, I know it's very cold, but you've all been very patient, and you've been very lucky to be able to listen to some wonderful candidates this afternoon and evening. I'd like to say that we are a nonprofit, and we provide these shows with whatever we find in Sam's pockets, and any donations that we receive from the community. You can visit our Give a Little page, or do a direct deposit into our bank account. I'd like to thank Stacy, Sam, and myself, why not, for the show, but especially our candidates, all right, and our audience for tuning in. Good night, and I'll see you back here for our second installment of the Lower Hutt GWRC. Thank you.
Kia ora.